had that pickup where it was Ruby in the gold lane.
That's right. That was yesterday.
It was just yesterday.
And yeah, we also knew from day one that, you know what, people like J. Lord Gonzalez
the J. Lord
can get tuned with a Gushin pick. So maybe that's something you can learn from one of the OGs of the Gushin pick here.
That's right.
Which is few.
Yeah, and so we've got this Game 1 draft upon us. You can already see the first bands coming out. Wolf, what are you thinking? I know you're trying to do the on-point predictions here.
I'm trying to, get into my mind palace. And
wait, do you feel like it's harder now to pick the picks?
Yeah,
now?
it's definitely because there's a lot more. It's more of a taste kind of thing where it's not really the teams. They pick up Vexana, whatever. They pick up Arlet, but sometimes it's just dependent on the taste that they started with. With these set of bands, though, I think this will be an assassin showdown. I think TNC, knowing that they have seen that this Minotaurs already banned out, they might even ban out something like a Kaja or even a Tigreal early, and then pick up something like a Joy or a Nolet as their first pick.
I was going to say, so you're thinking Assassins in the jungle.
Assassins in the jungle.
Okay. Oh, there's
there it is.
Never take out Nolan.
I think they're going to close it out. Most likely, obviously, when you think about Kyle TZ, you also think about the Fanny that might still be up on the table here. So, yeah, I actually agree. That's a big possibility. Although Ryzen has been more, well, I would say, tank-centric in the recent few games that they have and in the previous meta patches that we've had. So, I actually completely agree. I'm not really completely set with the meta right now, especially after that huge patch that we've just seen. And some teams are already starting to form around it.
So Minotaur band, obviously Matilda perhaps or Apbr as another band because it's no mid special, but they banned Xborg instead.
No, they're very specific.
Interesting too. Yeah, it's specific, but we've seen that in the hands of Flap, right? Even recently. So first pick,
Joy.
You call the Joy. That's going to be picked up. So. What's the response looking like from Apbr?
So they might go Harith and then eventually Kaja afterwards. But yeah, they go Harith usually with this kind of pickup. And then they might go for CC. Because the reason why they banned out the Xborg is because of that specific hero. They go Matilda.
There it is.
Matilda CC.
Basically, you just want to give the CC a really good matchup. Someone that you can't straight up out-counter in the lane.
Yeah. Speaking of, we're going to take a look here at Flap TZ's Arlot. Right, Season 12 and M5 Finals MVP. He went 4-0 with it. And he's used 12 heroes. What is considered a deep hero pool? Is that deep?
Yeah, that is definitely deep.
How deep does it go?
Yeah, 12 heroes, I guess.
That's a big percentage of current XP here at laners.
Yeah.
There's room for more.
Okay. I was about to say Barrett's in the XP lane, but it will be. It's one of those heroes that is great versus the CC because CC just can't position or at least cannot win or run over the lane when the Barrett's is there. Can't bully it because that's a Barrett's. But then I'm thinking Harith or Claude here for the side of Apbr, especially because they already have frontline, they already have sustain, and you need some sort of late game damage to go with it. And usually, they go Baksha instead.
All right, so apparently we're going to be missing out on some assassin fights on the jungle because of this. Although, again, I'm still pretty much looking forward to seeing whether or not the Claude and the carry are going to be left open here, right?
Yeah.
This is very durable. Already from Apbr with the first picks that they have.
Yeah.
Not only do they have a lot of mobility to work around with, but just a whole lot of front-line tankiness and... The way that, because you pick up the Baksha too and you already have a Matilda, you're going to be rotating like crazy, right? So if you're TNC, you really need to keep that under control. And yes, you have the Novari to help you with the vision there. Joy moves around pretty quickly as well. But, the rest of the lineup, the last two picks for TNC are going to be super crucial to deal with this kind of rotational speed from Apbr.
Okay, so... We said that the Claude or the Harith will be picked up by Apbr, and TNC can identify that. They will definitely take that out. There's also a chance for a carry ban for Apbr because the carry is a marksman that is not having a lot of problems against both CC and Baksha because of the true damage, and you're very tanky. Not very tanky, but compared to other marksmen, you're very tanky. So maybe a carry ban here for Apbr, unless they want to pick it fourth.
Yeah, that's actually the big trinity of gold laners right now, right? Claude, the carry, the Brody is out. So it's going to be a tough challenge as well for TNC. Not to mention we've seen Apbr really rock on that Clint in huge previous tournaments.
And they might just do that fourth pick and then reserve their mid laner as their last. They ban Kaja. It's maybe a Nomad special. I wonder what else Nomad is playing from the roam role, because we know that traditionally he actually used to play as a marksman. So there is the carry ban here for TNC.
Ooh.
I think you snatched the Clint now for Apbr, unless you do want to take the Harith. Otherwise, you go you go Lilia typically against Novaria.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that could
Or
work
Valentina.
out. Yep, Valentina. A hero that is, in my opinion, has fallen off a little bit. I'm okay with that, though.
The Valentina.
The Faramis is open.
Ooh,
which is
that's
a
huge.
few special.
Pretty huge, man.
So they might just last pick it.
If they took that, there's so much work that I feel like TNC has to do to win those like skirmishes and team fights early on, right? Especially around the objectives here.
Which you might go for Clint or Bruno then.
Yeah.
If that's the case for Apbr.
There it
Bruno.
is. There's
Good
a
call.
Bruno.
Yeah.
Pretty chunky front line. You know what? You throw as much of that back line damage as you can. Lilia does look good for Apbr right now. That's true.
Whew.
What's a marksman open though for TNC?
They only have Clint, maybe Ixia. But there's a lot of dive for Apbr, so maybe you don't want to go that route.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Think about, I mean, any of the marksman, traditional like marksman picks would be tough to deal with against a Baksha and the Matilda.
They can go Harith plus somewhere Tigreal perhaps. So you have front line. The thing with Harith is it allows for a Joy to be online because that's your late game already, and you look for a gold laner that's not dependent on farm, because otherwise you are going to lose that battle. So Clint or Harith for TNC, and then maybe a Tigreal to finish it off.
The only downside I can think of because of that is they might lack range because Joy's melee. And there you go. There's the range that we're talking about here, aside from the Novaria.
Was Grok a good choice? I mean, if you were
Chrome?
speaking about the Tigreal, but they go Grok instead.
Yeah.
Picking up the Clint as well. So how is this?
I think I definitely like it just because you have a lot of wave clear in the middle. Imagine this Novaria plus the power nature.
Yeah.
Boom. That lane is just, it's going to be sped up and then you rotate. You're talking about rotational speed of Bren?
Yeah.
That's the answer. And there's the Valentina as well.
Okay, interesting. Valentina being picked up, I think, works good in this situation because you actually have a couple options in terms of ultimates that you could take from TNC and utilize, and that's kind of what we're expecting here. A great wild charge setup as well from Apbr could really help turn some of the tides of these early skirmishes. So real quick, we get a last look here at the lineup for week number 1. TNC still looking to get on the board, of course, and they could start with this if they can take down Apbr.
Yeah, you know what? I would love to know what the audience thinks right now. I'm going to go through the YouTubes and the Facebooks. I want to know who you think came out on top. Press 1 on the comments if you think TNC has a good chance here with Nomad on the Grok, and press 2 if you think the world champs probably going to close this out.
Okay. Looking at, good pressure here already, though, right? Nomad, though. He might get bullied down quite a bit. This is tough, right? Unfortunately for him, he's going to go down, and Kyle Tease is going to be on that hunt. Just going to take a little bit longer.
Oh, boy.
First blood there.
Caltese didn't even think twice about taking that fight, and giving an additional boost of XP and gold here is going to be huge for the Apbr jungler.
And the thing is, they weren't able to get a punish.
Worked around that, so let's jump back into the game here. Once again, they got things situated. It is first blood drawn by Apbr. We got Turtle coming up here in less than 30 seconds. Some level 4s coming across the board so far as well. So we'll see how they rotate around that first big objective.
Yeah, and because of that kill, obviously Ryzen is going to have to really work hard to make sure he is not underleveled against the opposite jungler, which is Caltese. Obviously, one level, level 4 between level 5, the retribution damage is quite noticeable. Yeah. So something to really think about here.
But then again, if you are a Joy, you're not that concerned about the first few turtles of the game. You're actually concerned about scaling. So
get that item, right?
Gotta get that item. Gotta get that big tam, as Mr. Narsa would say.
Oh, well, they're going to be fighting for this right now as they break out.
Yeah, it seems to be. Turtle is going to be missed out on the retribution here. Nomad is the one who takes it up. And there's going to be a huge missile here Huge movement here for Apbr. They're locking in heads in a very bad position. Forces Nomad with the flicker as well. Ryzen trying to see if he can get some kills on the back of that, but it's a big no from the world champs.
Okay, was that so? They got the objective. TNC did that, but Apbr got another kill here. How's that look though in terms of like worth it? Hatred trying to keep a few from going back, but how's that look, Wolf?
Well, the fact that they didn't lose as much, like Ryzen didn't die, it was only heads that died in that game. I think that's kind of worth it for TNC because that's extra levels and farm for their jungler. And heads actually utilized the Daytona's welcome just to make sure that CalTZ will not be in the picture when it comes to those red tree battles. So maybe this is the play now for TNC.
That was actually pretty big, I would say, right? Nomad maximizing the damage from the early game power of nature, basically as powerful almost as a retribution, and depending on the amount of HP the Lord has, or Turtle rather.
Yeah, I like that they at least got something out of that exchange. You know, that was the main thing. Not letting that lead or that kind of confidence, the momentum from Apbr to continue to build up. At least in this case, you know, you're keeping things relatively even in terms of economy, and that's the best thing you can do right now. TNC has a lot of scaling potential here as well. You know, that's one of the great things. Anytime you have a Novaria, you can kind of rely on that, right? Let's build up, let's scale up. We have vision we can work with. You know, you can also just kind of fire off from the distance.
Oh,
I think Ryzen, yeah, he's going to be fine.
Pretty aggressive drive-by here being done by CalTZ, and like you mentioned, Ryzen just trying to avoid the fights. He's going exactly what Wolf says. Avoiding these fights, just making sure he doesn't die and trying to get that goal. But right now, CalTZ, since he already did use the Poissons, is known by TNC. They know that maybe they can try to leverage something here.
Okay, everybody just kind of focused up on this side of the map. Turtle going to be worked on by CalTZ, Yasuo, and Nomad. Keeping their eyes here. They're going to go for it.
Yeah, going straight at it. Retribution being activated by Ryzen. He gets it. No fights yet available for this Joy, but that's exactly how TNC wants it.
Great job coming out from TNC, identifying a good opening, and despite CC coming out from Flap TZ, just try to zone out Ryzen as well as to kind of force that Retribution out of the purple. Ryzen kept his cool and actually managed to get the Retribution up, and this time they did not lose any of their heroes. Really great identification coming out from TNC.
They look really good right now, man.
Yeah, again, if they can continue to get the objectives for TNC, I feel like at this current part of the game, it's the best you can do, right? Just get these turtles, farm up as best you can, especially for Yasuo here on this Clint pick. He just needs some time to build up, right? Nomad, though, will get whittled down a little bit.
Oh, he can't really ignore the damage coming in from a Matilda, but at the same time, you know what? Ryzen, very close by. They know they can kind of just overstep a little bit, just try to get as much resources and maybe eke an advantage for Apbr. TNC has been doing that over and over again here, slowly but surely.
Bottom lane, heads keeping it together for now, but look at this aggression from Apbr on this side of the map. Not sure if they still want to continue. They're playing around the mobility that they have, and that's anytime you have a Matilda especially, that's what you're going to expect from these sorts of teams, right? Playing around that kind of the option that they have to get out of sticky situation. Wow.
Huge missile expert there being used by Heads. Forces the Purify out of Super Marco. This is so interesting, right? What we're seeing here with Apbr trying to start these fights, but TNC just not obliging them.
Yeah. And the thing about TNC is that is their win condition. When you're playing this Joy, you really have to look for the late game. And they picked up the Clint. The good thing for Yasuo so far is not being pressured. So he will still be able to output the damage, and we've seen in day one that Clint has great late game actually.
True.
Weak in the mid game, great in the early game, but late games actually can scale.
Yeah, one combo is going to do some pretty nasty stuff. Forces Flicker out of Nomad again. This time it's going to be CalTZ coming out on top, but look at this. Here comes Flap TZ with the additional damage that Apbr needed to clean up that fight.
So they had an answer this time. Apbr was like, you know what, Ryzen, you're not going to continue to do that. They catch him out as well. on top of securing that turtle. So Apbr making quite a big play there. How's this playing into the items right now, Wolf, as we get into that 7.5 minute mark?
Well, there is already the War Axe coming out from Mr. Flat TZ, so you saw the damage output that he was able to take out Ryzen. Even obviously Ryzen was low anyways, but he can now threaten for kills.
Pretty nasty stuff right now, but look at that. Nomad's actually taking a lot of that nasty damage coming in from Super Marco, we haven't actually seen much in these fights. So maybe this time around he'll be able to show what these balls are made of.
Well, right now they're on fire. He also
they are on fire.
Yeah, he just also picked up, I believe it was the Berserker's Fury just recently. So this is the point that I'm talking about. We're a minute away from this Lord. Apbr, you can already see the pressure they're putting on this side of the map of TNC.
Yeah.
They will try to get a pick off if they can, leading into that first Lord here, of course. And right now, for the most part, I mean, they have control of this pace, of what they want to do around the map. TNC getting further behind here. Yes, it's only 2K. It's not anything crazy, but they still can't let that kind of just slide out of the hands here. You know, and that's been the case for TNC for a lot of times. So something has to happen for them here as they try to set up.
Yeah, they're trying to make that happen right now with the Daytona's welcomed. Obviously, Heads going to be left all alone here for the meantime. But look at this. Apbr, no fear whatsoever. Dives straight up onto the Heads. And Nomad of TNC. Nice barrier there. Slow him down, but nope, you can't really stop him. So mobile this Apbr lineup is right now. Ryzen on the back, seeing if he can pick up some stragglers here, and he chooses Flap. Damage is not quite there yet.
I said it, guys. There's the Lord coming up. They got their pick off that they wanted, and they're going to go right for the objective here. So TNC knows this as well. I like the fact that they're going to try to at least get some vision here, but they have to be careful. Few holding on to the wild charge himself, and this looks like it could just be a Lord to them.
Yeah, this is such an easy zone here right now for Apbr, with even Nomad not even lasting that long to the yo-yos. Oh man, this is just way too much damage right now being built up by the bees.
You see what they're trying to do here for Apbr. The siege is great. It's like a, I don't know, maybe the visualization here is a phalanx, you know?
Yeah.
What was that called?
Spell phalanx.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
But yeah, you know, that traditional war tactic where you build up your shields, then when somebody gets in, you let him through inside your formation. And Apbr's formation is like that. That's what they did up top during their siege, and that's what they did around the Lord area where they let Ryzen in. And Apbr, the moment Ryzen showed himself, they just destroyed him with them all going all together.
Yeah, basically like a fly trap, right? Luring in your target, luring in your prey, and making them wish they did actually go in.
Yeah, that's what I love about this lineup right now as they continue to assault the base of TNC, getting some of these shields down. It looks like they're also going to get this top inhibitor turret down as they do. Apbr still making some work here. Ryzen trying to keep that wave from pushing in. Is he going to be able to get... wall.
That was a beautiful Guardian barrier here. And so far, so good here. Ryzen's going to go down, at least for Apbr. TNC, they're really struggling here to just survive to the DPS of Apbr. Rocking up on 7.7K right now.
Whew, I don't think Ryzen felt good about that Guardian's barrier,
That was so good. That was so good. And he's going to be knocking Nomad later for sure after his, but you know.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, I'm kidding, but that did not fare well for him.
It's tough. Again, all of this in the last couple minutes. An 8K gold lead now, Apbr. Look at the damage on Nomad.
Yeah. They can't tank this much damage, man, at all.
Looking very difficult now because even Heads already committed the flicker play. They don't have the damage, and even Ryzen is not scaled up yet.
Man, Ryzen evaporated there. You guys see that?
Yeah, this is
oh
gonna
my
be a tough
goodness.
one. They're going to push it in.
There we go. Possible GG push here. It's a 4v5. And the beautiful engage being started off here by Ogwen and cleaned up very well by the balls of Super Marco. And now the damage is just unbearable here for Apbr. Clearing it up, waiting for the hits to come into the base. And clean it up for game number